All right, we're going to start talking about a tool called OpenRefine. OpenRefine is a free software tool. It was originally made by Google, and we use it in a couple of situations. First, we're going to use OpenRefine when we're working with really large data sets. If you've ever had Excel hang or take a long time to complete an operation, OpenRefine usually solves those problems. And we'll also use OpenRefine for a few very specialized features that we'll talk about in a different video. So when we start Refine, you'll notice that it opens in a browser tab. Okay, so this is the application, it's running in your browser, that's fine. But one thing this means is that if I close this tab and I don't remember this numerical address to type in, it can be a little confusing to get back to it, right? Because OpenRefine is still running. So all you need to do if that happens is quit OpenRefine, and then once it's quit, you can relaunch it and you'll have your tab back. So when we launch OpenRefine, we're at our start page. OpenRefine works on the idea of projects. Project is just a data file that we're working with. So I'm going to find my data file. This is a really big CSV file. And on this screen, it's going to give me a preview of what it thinks the data looks like. And I'm just looking here to make sure all my columns look good. This looks fine. These options at the bottom are more advanced. OpenRefine will open all sorts of data files. So if you have something kind of weird, you might need to mess with these things. For this class, this will usually just load fine. Once we create our project, you'll see that the main screen when OpenRefine finally loads, this is a really large data file. OpenRefine is only going to show you a segment of the data at a time, okay? So here in this data file, there are 145,000 rows, but I'm only looking at 10 here, or I can only look at 25 here. And the reason is that OpenRefine is all about doing things to a lot of rows at once, and it's not really about browsing through and looking at individual rows. So let's look at a few things we can do. One thing we can do is, let's say we've got F and M here, maybe I want female and male. We can do that really quickly. So I click edit next to a single cell, change this to what I want it to be, and then I can either change just that cell or all identical cells. I'll do that. And this just edited 12,000 cells. That's much quicker than it would be in Excel. So I'll go ahead and edit my males as well. All right. One thing that OpenRefine is really good at is segmenting my data and letting me look at parts of my data. So let's say we want to look at only the female prisoners. This data set is everyone who's imprisoned in Texas at a certain date. So if I click here on this arrow by the column, I get different things that I can do to this column. I'm going to say I want a facet and I want a text facet. Facet is just like it's like a segment of the data or a way of segmenting the data. So when I click text facet, it's going to give me all of the values that are in that column. So it's either female or male. And I can now click on female to only show these rows that have the value female in this column. So we can see now that we're working with 12,000 rows instead of 145,000. So something that's really important to understand about OpenRefine is if I now export my data, and I can export it as a CSV file, and you would download it, I'm not going to, that file that you download is only these rows, okay? It's only kind of your active view. So if all you wanted to do was jump into OpenRefine, grab all the rows that are representing females and jump back to Excel, that's a perfectly fine use for OpenRefine, and that'll work really quickly. I can also start combining these facets, which can be really useful if I'm doing analysis, right? So let's say I want to know where are female prisoners held, what facilities are they held at. So here's current facility, it's a categorical column as well. So I can come here, facet, text facet, and now I can start combining these. So this is sorted by name. I can see that there's 21 facilities that hold female prisoners in the state of Texas at this time. I can sort these by count. So now I automatically know, okay, this is the facility that has the most females imprisoned. And again, if I click here, Now I only have the 2,000 females held at this facility, and again, I could export this and begin working with it. Maybe I'm interested in several of these, so you can start combining these. And this is really just at this point about you exploring the data, right? Maybe I'm not interested in facility, but I'm interested in, say, gender and race. So create a text facet from my race column, and now I've got a representation of races. And again, I could edit these from here. So edit, change this to white, and apply, and I now changed 6,000 cells. And I would want to go through and do the rest of these as well. So that's a really basic intro to OpenRefine. You have a history panel right here, so you can kind of either keep track of what you've done or move back in time if you want to undo something. But the primary things we're going to be doing are sorting, filtering, modifying my entire data set, and then exporting it to work somewhere else. So in later videos, we'll start taking a look at some of the fancier features that OpenRefine has.